Yeah, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. It's Ringside Report MMA. I am Dave Simon. Today on the show, is Brock Lesnar coming back to the UFC? Is Brock Lesnar going to fight again? We have betting odds. Brock versus Fedor. Brock is a favorite. Brock versus John Jones. He's a big underdog. Ringside Report MMA starts now. Yo, I'm back, and Fred's here too. What's up, Freddie?
Nice little intro, a little change up.
Yeah, a little change up. Thanks to the production staff, my dad.
I like that. I like that. A little 30 seconds of what we're going to talk about, and then we get our little animation going.
That's right, Fred. That's right. You broke it down. You really, you're really breaking it down tonight. Fred with the analysis of everything MMA and Ringside Report MMA as well, just analyzing the show and the production, and I love it. Freddie, we are here. I am here. You are here, but we're missing somebody. Where's AJ?
I don't know. I think he went in hiding because I think he went 0 for 2 last week, from what I understand, no?
Yeah, for sure. He for sure went 0 for 2 last week in his picks.
He picked Anthony Smith, and he picked Robbie Lawler. I mean, me and you, we had Rakic, and we had a Magny. I think me and you even said that Magny would dominate Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, we said that, right? Sure. We were actually both wrong last week.
AJ's off this week.
AJ was right,
yeah.
And I'm really happy that he's not here for one reason. The only reason that I'm happy he's not here is because he'd be bragging big time, because he called the two favorites to win, Alexander Rakic and Neil Magny, and they both came out with victories last week. We'll talk about that. Freddie and I went with the underdogs, maybe the sentimental picks, and we were both wrong. But that's okay. We don't have AJ to rub it in this week. AJ had a, what do we say, death in the family, right? He had somebody in his family.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, somebody in his family passed away, unfortunately. And he's with, the rest of his family in their time of need. So our thoughts and love go out to the entire D'Alessio family, AJ, and all of his family. We are with you, and our condolences from, Freddie and I. Sad to hear anybody from
Nothing
AJ's family. Yeah, exactly. So we love AJ. Sad to hear anything about that. But we are not here to talk about AJ, although we could talk about AJ all night now that he's not here, right? We could just kind of go on and on about AJ. We are not here to talk about...
Probably be a good show also.
Yeah, I mean, we could tell a lot of great stories about AJ, right? Maybe we should just do an AJ special, you and I, right? Mad Dog Vasho on the chat, he thinks AJ got arrested again, which is possible. Woods MMA UK is on the chat. What's up, Woods? Lauren Cronish on the chat as well. Shout out to everybody watching live right now, everybody listening on your podcast over at ringsidereport.net. Thank you for supporting on the Super Chat. Thank you for supporting our sponsors as well. Manscaped, go to manscaped.com. Use that promo code ringside20 for 20% off your order and free shipping. Stitcher Premium. Go to stitcher.com/premium. Use the promo code ringside for a free month when you sign up. And IPVanish, go to vpn.ringsidereport.net to sign up and secure yourself on the internet today. Brock Lesnar is who we're here to talk about. I didn't do that right, Fred. I'm sorry. Let me try that again. Brock Lesnar is who we're here to talk about. All right? You gotta no, not as good, not that good. You do it. You give me a Paul Heyman.
No, I'll probably just start coughing because I can't give you that deep of a voice. But nobody could do the Paul Heyman as good as Paul Heyman. It was a good attempt. Is he coming back? My short answer is no, but we'll see, man. I think this is probably just a ploy from him to get a bargaining chip for his next contract, which has been like Brock's MO like the last couple of times we've heard this story. It seems it's mostly him trying to bargain his way to a better deal. He's come back once for Mark Hunt, so you never know. Maybe there can be one matchup that interests him. But John Jones, that's scary. That's scary for Brock. I don't think he wants any part of John Jones. Maybe Fedor, but even Fedor, I don't think Brock... why would Brock risk his reputation and all that? Imagine Fedor were to knock out Brock. Doesn't that hurt him as far as his gimmick and all that?
Yeah, it would hurt. It would not help. But at this point, I don't know. We've seen him lose in MMA before, and then he's come back to make tons of money in pro wrestling. He's such a big star in pro wrestling. I don't think any loss in MMA, even at this point, would hurt his stock. Like, he's such a big-time guy for the WWE. I think that they would take him no matter what, no matter who he lost to. I don't think it really matters. I want to see Brock fight. Like, he's 43. He hasn't fought since 2016. So it's been 4 years. He was 39 when he fought. I'd like to see him fight again. I'd like to see him fight either Fedor or John Jones. When these names came up this week, Brock Lesnar. Now, the story started with Brock's merchandise being pulled from WWE Shop. So they have an online store, the WWE, and all his merch got pulled. So people started wondering, well, what's up with Brock? And it is kind of a weird move for the WWE Shop to pull merchandise from people because, like, Ronda Rousey hasn't wrestled for the company in, over a year, right? When she lost to Becky Lynch, it was WrestleMania. And we already had a WrestleMania this year. So it's been over a year since Ronda's wrestled. You could still find Ronda Rousey merch at WWE Shop. Like, if you search for Ronda Rousey on the page, tons of stuff comes up. I will show you right now, Freddie. I will prove it to you. I think I can prove it to you.
I believe you.
Here we go. Look, do you see that? Look, Ronda Rousey. You search for Ronda, and there's a matching superstar. Ronda Rousey, you could buy WWE merch for Ronda. But if you search for Brock Lesnar, nothing. Nothing. Right? If you search for somebody else that doesn't wrestle for them anymore, how about Cain Velasquez? Okay, Cain Velasquez had a very short run in WWE. You can buy Cain Velasquez merch at WWE Shop right now, and it's on sale. Fred, $13 for this Cain Velasquez cool-ass t-shirt? Does this come in large? Oh, it does. Uh-oh. This is kind of cool, actually. No cruces a mi familia. Cain Velasquez! I mean, I like Cain Velasquez. I might be buying this. I'm shopping right now. I'm shopping on the show. That's what's happening. But, like, they have Cain Velasquez merch. They have Ronda Rousey merch. These people don't wrestle for the company. Brock has wrestled more recently than Cain or Ronda, right? Brock worked Mania in early April. So it's odd that they pulled his merchandise from the company. And usually the WWE would not pull merchandise from their shop unless they felt Brock was in negotiations with someone else and was likely to land somewhere else soon. That's my read on it. As a longtime WWE observer, I don't see them pulling merch unless they think that Brock's going somewhere imminently, or Brock has some deal in his contract where contract's up, you can't sell any of my stuff anymore. That's a separate licensing agreement. That's possible, but WWE doesn't usually do that with anybody. Like, they have your merch, they have it, and they're going to sell it no matter what. Like Cain Velasquez, he wrestled for them, 2019 at some point, right? Like mid-2019? Like, it's been over a year since Cain wrestled for them, but they have his merchandise on the shop, so it's weird that they pulled Brock's merchandise. And it definitely makes me think that he's going to sign with somebody, either with an MMA company or another pro wrestling company, which, right now is either New Japan Pro Wrestling or AEW. A lot of wrestling fans would like to see AEW. And, I mean, they do have a big pay-per-view on Saturday. Just saying. AEW All Out is this Saturday. A big surprise would be pretty cool. They tried to get Mike Tyson to go for it. It didn't seem to work out. I don't think they're going to get Mike Tyson. Brock Lesnar's the next best thing. The next big thing as well. And, he wouldn't be bad in AEW. It's
when
weird.
When did Brock's contract finish?
Mania, right? at Mania, his last match with Drew McIntyre, where he dropped the title.
But that was his final date, because usually they got like a compete clause, for like a month or whatever. So I'm just saying, if his contract finished last week, I doubt he's going to be there Saturday. But
No, it's a
it's
Mania.
intriguing.
Yeah, it's interesting. That the WWE has pulled his merchandise says something. It's a sign. I'm not exactly sure what it's a sign of. Right now, we're trying to read into it, trying to figure it out. But the UFC is an option. I think UFC is an option. I think Bellator is an option. Scott Coker said, I think it was Ariel Helwani that reported it this week, that he spoke to Coker, and Scott Coker, who runs Bellator, he said, Fedor and Brock was a fight that people wanted to see, and it never happened. It was a fight that people wanted to see. The UFC was going to put that fight together, right? They tried to put that fight together, but never came to fruition. I would still want to see it, but the money fight is Jon Jones, right? Like, if you're looking at what the big fight is, I say the big fight is Jon Jones versus Brock Lesnar. That's where the UFC makes the most money. That's where Brock Lesnar makes the most money. That, to me, is the fight. And, Fred, you're saying, well, it's a slam dunk, easy win for Jon Jones, and that's what the odds makers are saying right now, because there is an opening line. Jon Jones minus 350, Brock Lesnar plus 265 for a potential fight. Brock a big dog. Brock in the Fedor fight, minus 135 the favorite. Fedor a slight underdog, plus 105. I agree with both those odds. Both those odds make sense to me. But I wouldn't give Brock zero chance in a fight with Jon Jones. And I've made the case before that I think Brock Lesnar is the perfect first fight at heavyweight for Jon Jones. For many reasons, I'll go through them again. I feel like I'm repeating myself on this show, but I got to do it, Fred, right? It's coming up. This is an actual thing. Jon Jones has tweeted about Brock Lesnar. By the way, the Yankees just won 9-7 over the Mets. Go Yankees. Jon Jones tweeting about Brock Lesnar. This is Jon Jones on August 31st. Brock, I'll beat your ass too. Beat-yo. He's going to beat-yo his ass. I'm not really sure what that means. I mean, I think I get it. But he says, Brock, I'll beat yo ass too. Beat yo ass too. Strange spelling there, but I understand what the champ means. He means he wants to fight Broccoli Lesnar, and I am into it. I am fully down with Brock versus Jon Jones because Jon Jones has never fought at heavyweight. How does he fare? Do his punches have the same effect? He's always been a big light heavyweight. At heavyweight, he'd be average to small, right? So how does he fare against a legitimate 265-pounder, a guy like Brock Lesnar who has to cut to make the 265 heavyweight limit? How does Jon Jones do against a guy of that size with the ability to wrestle him and take him down and hit him pretty hard? Like, you can't deny that Brock Lesnar hits hard when he connects, and he's got decent wrestling, right? He's a good wrestler. He's an NCAA Division I national champion. He took Mark Hunt down at will and managed to wrestle him to death, and, he's a former UFC heavyweight champion. Brock is not the most skilled MMA fighter, but he does have some attributes. He's big, he's strong, he hits like a truck, and he can take you down. So all those are reasons why I think him and Jon Jones would be an interesting fight, because Jon Jones has never fought a guy the size of Brock Lesnar. I don't think he's ever fought anybody that hits as hard as Brock. Maybe Daniel Cormier, maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think he hits as hard, not with the power of a Brock. I'd like to see it. I think Jon Jones should win that fight, right? Like, he should for sure beat Brock Lesnar. Jon Jones is a much better fighter than Brock, but we've never seen Jon Jones at heavyweight. And to me, you don't throw Jon Jones at heavyweight against some tester fight like a Derek Lewis or, somebody that's like kind of middle of the pack. Like, if John Jones is going to fight somebody, he's got to be worthy of John Jones, you know? He's got to be a money fight for John Jones. So it's either Stipe, Francis maybe, but Francis is like too dangerous as a tester fight. You know, like if you're going up to test how you are at heavyweight, if you're the UFC and you want to see what John Jones is like at heavyweight, throwing him against Francis is like the deep end. It's like, yeah, he might hit you, you might get knocked the fuck out, and that might be it. Throwing him against Stipe, that's the deep end. Throwing him against Brock, it's like, okay, well, let's see how you do against a man this size who hits this hard. And then if he can pass that test, then, of course, Stipe or Francis or whoever. I wouldn't mind seeing Stipe fight Francis again. Like, I do think Francis Ngannou has earned a title shot. But if Stipe is not interested in the fight, which he did talk about, you know, John Jones is there, but I wouldn't be against seeing John Jones fight Brock Lesnar, man. I mean, I know a lot of people would be into it. A lot of hardcore MMA fans would cry foul. They would say it's stupid and ridiculous, and why is Brock Lesnar here, and da-da-da-da-da. And they'll say the same shit that they always said when Brock Lesnar fought. And to that I say, he was the biggest pay-per-view draw the UFC has ever had up until Conor McGregor. He was a UFC heavyweight champion. The Shane Carwin fight. Okay, those are the things that I give to Brock Lesnar when I give Brock Lesnar credit as an MMA fighter. Won the title. He beat an old, small Randy Couture, but whatever. He was champion. He sold a ton of pay-per-views, and that Shane Carwin fight, he came back from adversity. He almost lost, and he came back and won, and that was a legit fucking win. Sure, Cain Velasquez beat his ass. Overeem beat his ass. He was probably on steroids for a good chunk of it. Sure, I'll give you all of those things. But you can't deny that Brock Lesnar, you know, moves the needle. Brock Lesnar is a fun fight. Brock Lesnar is a guy that people want to see in the octagon. And Brock Lesnar and John Jones is like, boom, pay-per-view. You say that to the average person that doesn't watch MMA, and they freak out. You know, this is what people want to see. So I'm down. And I'm not giving Brock zero chance in the fight, Fred. Okay? I'm not saying I'm going to pick Brock. I'm just saying he's got a chance, brother.
I'm down for the fight, but I'm not saying he has a chance because, you see, you mentioned like John Jones never fought anybody the size of Brock, which is very true. Brock's never fought somebody with the skill of John Jones, somebody that could move as well as John Jones moves in the cage. Like Cain Velasquez moves well, things like that.
Yeah.
But John Jones is lighter-footed.
Yeah, but prime Cain
Velasquez.
Well. Prime Cain Velasquez.
And how bad Brock looked against him.
I think prime Cain beats prime John Jones. How about that? Like the best Cain beats the best John Jones.
They both beat Brock Lesnar in the end.
I think so. But I don't know what John Jones is right now. You know, I wasn't convinced of John Jones. His past 3 fights, not super convincing. The Dominic Reyes fight, not super convincing. John Jones coming up to his mid-30s, an avid cocaine enthusiast, a heavy drinker, not fully convinced. You know, like, look, man, the wheels will fall off the John Jones train at some point. This guy has had a ridiculous career, super nice existence, and somehow he's managed to do it while snorting so much cocaine, right? So at some point, man, you can do this in your 20s, but you get to your mid-30s, brother, and it's going to slow down. So look, man, I'm not convinced that John Jones in 2020 is the same John Jones in 2012. I think 2012, 2013 John Jones wipes the floor with 2020 John Jones. You know, I don't think he's the same as he was. He's still the greatest fighter I've ever seen. I don't think he's in his prime anymore, though. I think he's exited his prime.
I mean, we haven't seen him in a while. Last time we saw him, he didn't pass the USADA test. All those things make me say that I doubt he comes back. But if he comes back, yeah, John Jones makes sense. And as far as what you said, if you're John Jones, it makes sense to fight either for the title or Brock Lesnar. Those are the 2 fights that will draw attention. So if you're John Jones, yeah, you're down for Brock Lesnar. You're not going to say no to that fight. But again, I'm going to say Brock Lesnar is going to be in wrestling. In his next contract, is going to be wrestling. And does WWE have any like matching clause if he signs with AEW? Is he just gone? Bye-bye WWE?
Yep.
You see that's the real story there. That should be the
Yeah.
bidding war. The
Yeah.
bidding war should be between AEW. But does AEW want a guy that's only showing up, I don't know, 10 times a year, you know? Do you want to invest that much money into, because they don't have that many pay-per-views right now, AEW. It's not like they're
No.
making a pay-per-view every month, you know?
That's it. They have 4 pay-per-views a year, and they have 1 TV show a week. If you sign a guy to, say, a 20 appearance deal for a year, 15 to 20 appearances, that's like a quarter of your shows for the year. That's a good chunk. That's a lot of appearances. Like, if they could sign Brock to 10 to 15 appearances, that's still a lot of Brock Lesnar in 1 year for AEW if you think about it. You know, in a 52-week year, they're doing a show a week, 4 pay-per-views in a year. AEW wouldn't be a bad place for Brock because it's kind of a place where you don't have to work that much. You don't really have to show up every day because they only have once a week tapings. It's once a week, that program. You know, it's not like WWE where, you know, guys are mad because Brock only shows up on Raw every once in a while and he doesn't do the house show loop and all that other stuff. Well, he doesn't show up at all the pay-per-views. It's like, okay, well, maybe WWE's doing too much wrestling. AEW, you know, they don't do that much. That schedule might actually be better for Brock. I agree with you. I think Brock most likely winds up in a pro wrestling company. I think Brock most likely, after this is all said and done, winds up back in the WWE. That's what I think. I think Brock is negotiating right now with probably a bunch of companies. Probably the UFC, maybe Bellator. Coker said he was interested. Maybe Brock is negotiating with them. He might be even negotiating with AEW, with New Japan. He might be negotiating with everybody. But don't think that he's not also negotiating a new deal with the WWE. This is what Brock does. His contract runs out, and then he says he's going to go fight in the UFC. So the WWE gives him more money. Like, that's really what happens,
Hunting
right?
season. Hunting season's about to start, so you know what? The best move maybe for Brock is just to sit it out for a while and make people want you. Like, people are going to throw money at him right now, and people are going to throw money at him in 6 months. So who knows? If you're not getting the deal you want right now, wait a 6 months.
That's it.
He'll get what he wants.
Brock
I'm not
Lesnar,
scared.
he will be a commodity. He will be worth something for another 5 to 6 years at least, right? 7, 8 years probably. Like, he's 43. At what point do you think MMA companies and pro wrestling companies are no longer interested in Brock? Right? Like, when he's 50? Like, pro wrestling companies will probably still be interested in him when he's 50. Maybe 55? Like, Brock has a good maybe 10 or 12 years where at least pro wrestling companies will be paying top dollar for him. And even MMA, like, I'm sure Bellator would fight him in, at 55 if he was willing to take the deal. How about Brock Fedor? Like, okay, Brock John Jones seems a little crazy. I think that's the least likely scenario. Like, let's rank the scenarios of likelihood. I would say the most likely scenario is Brock winds up in the UFC, in WWE, back where he belongs, right? Second, I would say he appears in AEW, which like shocks the wrestling world, which would be amazing on Saturday night. You tell me you don't want to see Brock Lesnar versus Kenny Omega, I'll call you a fucking liar. And Chris Jericho needs to do something way better than Orange Cassidy. So Jericho and Brock, like, they have prior heat. There's a lot you could do with Brock Lesnar in AEW. A lot, okay? So I'd say most likely he winds up in WWE. Second, most likely he'll go to AEW. Third, I would say, would be UFC with John Jones. And I'd say the least likely scenario is probably the Fedor fight in Bellator. But it might be what I want to see the most. I think it's like...
Well, he could win that one.
Yeah.
I would tell you that the Fedor fight is a fight that he could win because Fedor has not... Fedor has looked very bad in some recent fights. I wouldn't be surprised that Brock wins. I would probably pick Brock, I would tell you. Fedor Brock right now, I'm probably picking Brock. I still think WWE is the smart choice for him. And also in WWE, he has like his position. Vince respects him. Vince has him like a god. He's winning 95% of his matches, if not more, you know? Whereas in AEW, will he still be that same guy? Will he get the same treatment? Will he want a job to Chris Jericho?
I don't think he would have to. I really don't. I don't think
No?
he would have to. No.
Le Champion.
He's not, though. He's not the champion. Look, I would love to see it. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Brock probably winds up in WWE. If I were putting betting odds, I'd be like minus 300, Brock goes to WWE. Plus 250, he winds up in AEW. Plus 500, he goes to UFC. Plus 1,000, he fights Fedor and Bellator. Those would be the odds that I would set at that. I'd say the odds-on favorite for Brock where he lands is just back in the WWE, probably January, Royal Rumble time, if there's even a Royal Rumble. Can you do a 30-man battle royal? Are you allowed to do that? I guess you are. I guess you can do a battle royal, right? By
Just
January.
Keep 4 people. If it's in Quebec, just keep 4 people at most in the ring at every time. You make a battle royal where there's never more than 4 people in the ring, and the Quebec Commission will accept it.
Yeah, we got to figure that out. I want to talk about that maybe in a little bit. Like, what does this mean for jiu-jitsu? Because combat sports have been legalized, I guess, in our province, but I don't know. Johnny North is on the chat. He says there's going to be a new AEW show this fall, so I guess they're doing 2 TV shows a week. It seems like a bit much. I don't think we need that. Like, AEW has a Dynamite, which I watch every week, but then they have Dark, which, I don't watch every week. So I don't need a second AEW show. Fred, do you watch AEW?
Nope. It's too much wrestling on TV. I just watch pay-per-views, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm from the 80s when there was 4 pay-per-views a year. And even I'm old enough to remember when there was 1 pay-per-view a year. It was WrestleMania, and all of a sudden there was they added Survivor Series. I was like, wow, what is this? And then SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, but today, WWE, they got SummerSlam happened 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and they already had another one. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, they did SummerSlam 2 weeks ago, and then last week they did Payback. They did them back to back. It's pretty nuts.
Too many events.
That's WWE. AEW's got their big show. They only have 4 a year, AEW, and their big All Out is this Saturday. We'll be doing a watch-along 7 p.m. here, or is it 8 p.m.? I don't know. Whenever AEW, I should figure out when All Out actually starts. AEW All Out start time. Was it 8 p.m.? 8 p.m. Oh, thank God. 8 p.m. is when we will be here doing our watch-along for AEW All Out this coming Saturday. Myself, Johnny North, and my brother, Ben Simon, will be here. We'll have my special banana bread that I made. It's going to be a good time. Johnny won't have any, but my brother and I will have some. It is space banana bread, brother.
You know that Shane Carwin win is 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Over 10 years.
I remember it like it was yesterday. It was a beautiful fight. He was getting his ass kicked in that first round. Ass kicked. Came back with that head and arm triangle choke to win in the second round. That was crazy. Carwin gassed himself out trying to finish Brock. He couldn't do it. That was a magnificent fight, man. That was one of my favorite fights in UFC history, Carwin versus Brock. Because I was such a Brock fan, I love Brock Lesnar. I wanted to see him do well, pro wrestling guy. And he was getting his ass kicked, and I was like, oh, shit, this is it for Brock. It was it. This was, the end of the championship run. This is his first big loss where he's really getting his ass beat. And then somehow he survived the first round and came back in the second and won. And it was like, oh, okay, this guy's got some skills. He submitted him. He can take some punishment and come back and fight. It was really impressive. And that's the one fight you could point to say, okay, well, that was a badass fight. And he showed he was a real fighter in that one. It was a moment for Brock. I love that one. I'd like to see him back. I'd like to see him fight. I think he'd whoop Fedor's ass in Bellator. Bellator, just throw him a bunch of money and put that fight together. That's the fight I want to see. Let's go. Let's just make fights we want to see. Why are we fucking around? Why isn't Conor McGregor in a goddamn octagon already? Nate Diaz is going to fight Jorge Masvidal. Did you see that? They're doing that again. Is
it official? Because
I don't know. I don't think it's official, but Dana said that they're doing it.
it makes sense for Masvidal because to me, he dominated the first fight. That's gonna make a lot of money. If you're Masvidal, this is a perfect rebound fight for him, like to get back on a winning streak, get his name back to something of value. But Nate Diaz, that's dangerous. If you look bad 2 fights in a row, like the first, I keep on saying, first fight he looked bad against Jorge. Jorge dominated that fight. Yeah, it got stopped, but it was one-sided. It was a one-sided fight. So I got Jorge. I hope it happens again. It was a one-sided fight, man. Come on, Dave.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see it a little bit more. I think Masvidal was slowing down towards the end of the third round. I want to see a little bit more. I want to see that fight again. You can't win a BMF title because the referee stepped in because Nate was cut a little bit. The cut was bad, but it was in the state of New York. I think in the state of Nevada, that fight goes on to rounds 4 and 5, and who knows what happens in the 4th and 5th round. I think Masvidal probably wins the rematch. He was definitely winning the first fight. But I'm down to see it again. Why the fuck not? UFC
Hey, they'll
256.
both make a bunch of money.
UFC
I'm
256
happy.
December 12th is the date, Fred. So December 12th is what they're targeting for. And yeah, they're both going to make a ton of money, and the BMF title will come back. Masvidal will put it on the line against Nate Diaz. But didn't he lose it to Kamaru Usman? Like, didn't he put it on the line against Usman and lose it? So I don't know. I guess only the UFC welterweight title was on the line there.
But the way Usman won, man, that doesn't deserve a BMF title. I mean, you don't win a BMF title by being a boring fighter like that. Yeah, I said it. That was a boring fight, Kamaru.
Yeah, it was super boring. It was super boring. I mean, whatever, he won.
But you dominated.
Yeah, I mean, he kicked his ass, but it was super boring. Like, I don't want to see that shit again. It doesn't make me want to buy a Kamaru Usman pay-per-view, even though I'll watch all his fights.
That was awful.
Like, I mean, we're going to watch all the fights, but everybody else, like people that watch that shit, they'll be like, yeah, I don't know if I want to see Usman
I thought Tyron Woodley was boring, man. Kamaru Usman, come on, man. You're going to the Woodley level there.
Woodley's fighting Kobe Covington in 2 weeks?
That should be good. And look, Usman against Burns also should be a nice fight. Look, the welterweight division has some good fights coming up.
Yeah. When is that Usman-Burns fight? I don't think they've announced it.
I think it's in November. Isn't it in November? Because at the beginning they were saying that Nate and Masvidal would fight on the same pay-per-view as them, but it made no sense because Nate and Masvidal have to be the main event. So unless Usman and Burns is the co-main event, but I thought it was maybe in November.
I don't know. According to Dana White, Dana a couple days ago said UFC 256 December 12th is what they're planning, which is crazy. They were planning Burns and Usman for that, Amanda Nunes and Megan Anderson for the featherweight title, and Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal. Like, jeez, that's a big pay-per-view.
That'd be a great pay-per-view.
It's a nice Christmas time pay-per-view. God damn, we're already talking about Christmas time pay-per-views. What has happened to this year? Isn't it weird, like nothing happened this summer, but it feels like it's gone by like so quickly because we haven't done anything because nothing's happening? Fucking weird.
Yep, summer passed by too quick this year.
It's like the summer
does
never
every
even
year,
happened.
though.
Yeah, it does every year, but this year it feels like, what? What? Already? It's September? What the hell? Because we didn't really take advantage.
Less than 2 months.
Yeah, that's it. God damn. Here's John Jones talking about Stipe Miocic and Francis Ngannou. He says, Stipe versus Francis is high risk, low reward. Stipe versus myself actually makes a lot of sense for both of us. Now you actually have a super fight. Stipe loses, the fight is gone. It makes sense. What he's saying is Stipe versus Francis for Stipe is high risk, low reward. Stipe's already beat Francis, and the risk is he loses, and then he doesn't get a big money fight with John Jones. It makes a lot of sense for John Jones, makes a lot of sense for Stipe. So John Jones angling for a Brock Lesnar fight, or a hold on, where are you, Fred? I lost you. AJ's here now, but he's not actually here. Yeah,
I'm here.
I know you're here. I just brought an AJ window in here, even though AJ's not actually on the show tonight. We miss you, AJ.
You see, some people on the chat were like, "I feel AJ's just gonna pop up," and you're giving them some false hope right now. Like they're hoping for AJ in. Nope,
Yeah,
no AJ.
sorry. No, AJ will not be popping up tonight. But I am talking about. They're also saying that I sound like AJ because I'm talking about John Jones and how much cocaine he does. So AJ's here in spirit through me talking about John Jones and the sweet, sweet powder that he gets from Colombia. I don't know if it's sweet, actually. I've never tasted cocaine. Okay? Because unlike John Jones, I do not do cocaine. Okay? Don't do drugs, kids.
Rush, rush to the yayo.
All right. Freddie, on the other hand. Uh, speaking of cocaine in Miami, Masvidal and Nate Diaz, that seems to be going on. That's fun, man. But, still, no Conor. Like, okay. Masvidal and Nate Diaz were both Conor McGregor opponents, both guys that would be perfect for fights with Conor as a comeback. Shit's not happening. Dustin Poirier and Tony Ferguson, they seem to be fighting each other. The UFC is really not giving up this, like, Conor will fight Justin Gaethje or Khabib. They are not giving that shit up. It felt like they were trying, but they are not. Even though Khabib, if he wins, seems like he wants to fight George St. Pierre. So, help me here. Where's Conor? Like, fuck, man. He's the biggest goddamn star in the sport. Like, I get it. Some guys only fight once a year, and maybe that's all we'll get from Conor this year. One fight. I mean, Dana said Conor won't fight again this year. Dana said Conor's retired for 2020. He fought once. He beat Cerrone in, like, January, and that's it. No more Conor. Bullshit, man. Where the fuck is Conor? People want to see Conor McGregor, man. You know what MMA is about. It's the Conor show. Ultimate Fighting Conor. Everybody knows that. Who's he going to fight? Like, do we just wait and hope Justin Gaethje wins so that Conor can fight him? Like, is that the deal? Because if Gaethje doesn't win and Khabib wants to fight GSP, fucking then what?
There's not a lot of choices left for Conor, it feels like. Khabib is not interested in him, as you said. Justin Gaethje, if he wins, yeah, that definitely becomes the number one fight for Conor. If Justin Gaethje wins against Khabib, Conor's probably pulling for Justin Gaethje because that would mean another big payday for Conor. But other than that, everybody's booked. Masvidal, Diaz would have made sense. Who knows? Maybe they convinced Nick. But no, there's no marquee name for Conor that makes sense. And Conor being like semi-retired, like I don't think he could fight a guy like Usman or whatever. You know, he has to have a specific matchup that's good for him. Like not tailor-made, but I mean, if you put him against a big wrestler like Usman or Khabib, he's just going to lose again. So I don't think that's what he wants or the UFC wants. But there's not a lot of names left. Masvidal, Nate Diaz would have made sense.
Yeah. But now Nate's going to fight Masvidal. So, like,
well, the UFC,
they had options, right? Like 2 weeks ago they had options, but now that list is like smaller and smaller, right?
But it feels like the UFC, you know, they're a little bit like playing hardball with Conor themselves. Like, I think this has a lot to do probably with Dana saying, like, no, these are the terms. If you're interested, come fight. You're not interested, too bad. You know, we're not renegotiating or anything. This is what it is. And Conor's probably, like, Conor always wants to get more, which is normal. He's the biggest star. So when you're the biggest draw, you should always try to get more money. But the UFC, they got other avenues. You know, they got a guy like Masvidal that sold a bunch of pay-per-views. John Jones is still a star. They got other options to make money. They got a big contract with ESPN. They don't need to cater every demand that Conor has. Personally, I would want the UFC to figure out a way for Conor to fight. But as a business model, they're probably saying, look, you don't want to come under these terms? Too bad. Don't fight.
I think also what hurts Conor is that he's lost. He's lost to Khabib, and I'm not sure the UFC really believes he can beat him. And when you lose, your stock goes down. Like, that's the game. You can be as entertaining and you can sell pay-per-views, but if you don't win, then the UFC can use that against you and, keep you on the sidelines for as long as they want. Like, if you win, you can call a lot of the shots. But once you start losing, and once you're not the best, well, then the UFC can kind of fuck with you. And that's what's happening with Conor. Like, he
did win his last fight, though.
Yeah, but he beat Donald Cerrone. Like, that aura of invincibility, right? Like, he had it. He was world champion. He beat Eddie Alvarez. Nobody beat him in the
remember
UFC.
that
He was undefeated for years, right? But then, he lost to Nate, but then he came back and he beat Nate. Then he lost to Floyd Mayweather, but that's a boxing match, so it doesn't matter. But that Khabib loss, it showed. It's like, okay, Conor's not the best in the world. He probably was never best in the world at 155. Khabib is better than him. He's been exposed. And now it's like, okay, well, Nate, the Nate fight, it's like, okay, well, maybe Nate caught Conor. Conor didn't quite fight him the right way. The Khabib fight, it's like, no. They are who we thought they were. Conor got his ass beat. Conor's never going to beat Khabib. It is what it is. He's just not the best. And that hurts your bargaining power.
Conor needs specific matchups.
Yeah.
Conor needs specific matchups because if it's too dangerous, he's going to lose again. And like you say, he's going to lose even more value. So if you're Conor McGregor, like he said he wants to fight Khabib, but I don't think that makes sense. If you're Conor, you got to look at either like Jorge Masvidal, Nate Diaz, Dustin Poirier. Hey, maybe a Tony Ferguson fight that would make sense. But Poirier and Ferguson are fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the names that McGregor should be looking for. But losing like he did, not fighting that much in recent years and everything, the UFC they're probably telling him this is the deal you have. This is what you're fighting for. And Conor this time doesn't have a bargaining chip to get an extra money or anything. So it's going to be like him telling the UFC, okay, I'm ready to fight under your terms, I think. That's what's going to bring back Conor.
That's it. He's just going to have to bend and do whatever they want. He wanted to fight Anderson Silva, and Anderson Silva and his camps talked about it, and they agreed to fight. It's just the UFC that said no. They had that fight set. Like, they both agreed. And they're like, UFC's like, no, that's ridiculous. Which, yeah, I guess. But, hey, man, as a fight fan, I'd pay for that. I'd want to see that. I want to see that fight more than most UFC fights that they put out. And I understand it's ridiculous and it doesn't prove anything. And it's kind of a freak show type of fight. It's like a weird deal. But look, it's two of the greatest fighters ever. They want to fight each other. Fucking let them. There are people that want to see it. Fucking let them. What are we waiting for here? Why all the bullshit? Why do you have to, no, it's got to be the right thing. It can't be this. It can't be that. Anderson wanted to fight Conor. Conor wanted to fight Anderson. They probably could have done it at some point this year. UFC said, no, we have other plans for Conor. Like, I get it. They have other plans, but, their other plans don't even make sense. Like, okay, they want him to fight Khabib again. If Khabib fucking wins, he's already told you he wants to fight George St. Pierre. And again, if Khabib wants to fight George St. Pierre and George St. Pierre wants to fight Khabib, why the fuck would the UFC stand in the way? The UFC is just fucking standing in the way. John Jones probably wants to fight Brock. Brock probably wants to fight John Jones. Their teams could meet. They'd be like, yes, let's fucking do it. They call Dana. No, we're not fucking doing that. Fuck, why, Dana? Like, what the fuck? Just fucking do it. Like, I don't understand. Get out of the way and put the fights on that people want to see. Stop giving me whatever the fuck you're giving me on Saturday. Alistair Overeem versus Sakai. I don't even fucking know this guy's name.
Sakai.
Who the fuck is that? Who is he? Never heard
Augusto.
of him. Yeah, whatever. He's
Come
fucking
on,
new. He's whatever. I don't give a shit. I don't care about him. Neither do you. They give us a lot of bullshit.
Split decision win against Arlovsky, man. Come on, that's impressive.
If you fucking don't knock out Andrei Arlovsky in 2019 or 2020, I don't want to fucking see you in a UFC main event. If you are not knocking Andrei Arlovsky unconscious at this point in time, what the fuck are you fighting for? Why the fuck am I watching you in a main event on a Saturday night? That is bullshit, okay? That's fucking stupid. This guy fucking split decisioned Arlovsky. You're telling me he fought Arlovsky? This is 2019. Holy shit. He fought Arlovsky, who everybody knocks out. I mean, Arlovsky's a legend and da-da-da-da-da, but come on, he's fucking 41. He shouldn't be fighting anymore. Gets his ass beat most of the time. Jairzinho knocked him out. Jairzinho, I'll fucking watch, you know? But fucking Augusto Sakai, who wins a split decision, where one judge actually thinks Arlovsky beat you, and now you're fighting Overeem? Like, okay, you beat Marcin Tibura and Chase Sherman, who are guys I don't know. You fucking lost to Czech Congo in 2017. Get the fuck out of here, man. I don't want to see this shit. Overeem better beat his ass. If Overeem doesn't whoop this guy's ass, Overeem is motherfucking done. What the fuck, man? Like, this is the shit I don't want to see.
I think you're being a little harsh on Augusto.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's how I am. You know, sometimes I'm mean. AJ's not here to give it to him.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be here to give it to him. He's got 6 wins in a row, man. Give it to him, man.
If you split decision, Andre Arlovsky.
If after 6 wins in a row you don't get a good fight in the UFC, man, there's a problem. Like, yeah, I understand your point. If anything, I would tell you, look at the rest of the card. If you forget the main event and the co-main event, I could put probably all these guys in a lineup, and I doubt I could, like, recognize half, a quarter. Like, there's 14 other guys fighting on that card? Out of 14, you put them all in the lineup, and I got to put names on them? I'm not sure who Zalim Idamayev is. Kevin Natividad, no clue who that is. Hunter Azur, Cole Smith. Navidad.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know any of these people.
I don't even know the main event. Like, I know Ovin St. Preux. Everybody knows OSP. Who's Alonzo Menifield? I don't know him. I don't know this man. Who's Alonzo?
His picture tells me he's a black guy.
I mean, his name tells
I've heard
me
his name.
Black guy.
But yeah.
How many white guys are named How many white guys are named Alonzo? Maybe I'll start the trend. Maybe if I have another son, I'll name him Alonzo. You know, be like, you know,
you do that.
You know? Not a lot of white guys named Alonzo. Why not? It's a cool name. Alonzo. It's a fucking good name. I've always wanted to do that. Give my son like a name that's like, what? That's your name? What the hell is that? You know? Alonzo. Alonzo Simon. Maybe I'll just change my name to Alonzo. No, I'm not going to do that. That's fucking ridiculous. So, I don't know. This guy, Alonzo Menifield, like, he's in the co-main event. Who the fuck are you, man? I never heard of you. Augusto Sakai is the underdog. Plus 140 right now on most sports books. Alistair Overeem, minus 160, the favorite to win. He fucking better. I'll tell you this much. The Reem better knock this guy outside of himself. He knocked out Walt Harris in his last fight. Good. Overeem's won 3 of his last 4. The only guy that beat him is Jairzinho. Let's go, Reem. I love Alistair Overeem. Big fan. Legend of the game. How can you not love the Reem? I think he beats Augusto Sakai by decision. Okay? I'm going to have a decision win there for the Reem. Is that a 5-rounder? Might be tough to get a decision over 5 rounds, but I think he does it. I think Overeem wins like 3 or 4 rounds out of 5 and beats Augusto. Okay?
Reem by knockout.
Oh. Knockout. I like it. Augusto's never been finished, Fred. The only guy who's ever beat him is Czech Congo. I figure if Czech Congo beats you, like, Overeem should beat you too, right? Seems about right, like if you do the math. Okay. Let me help you do some math right now. Are you in need of something to keep yourself clean and smooth in your nether regions? Are your balls getting a little bit hairy? Do you need to freshen up? Go to manscaped.com and use the promo code Ringside20, and your math will be real good because you're going to save 20%, and you're going to get free shipping on your whole order. You can get the Lawnmower 3.0 that's now available in Canada. This thing is magnificent. Gets all the areas, gets you nice and clean and smooth. Your balls will thank you. And, you know, whoever you share your balls with will thank you as well. You'll feel like a new man. You pull your dick out, you pull your balls out, you'll be like, look at this guy I am right now. I look magnificent. I look fucking fantastic because of Manscaped, okay? Manscaped.com, promo code Ringside20, you get 20% off your order, you get free shipping, and you get fantastic balls, okay? We've all got big balls at the Ringside Report Network, and we got to keep them not too hairy. Nobody likes that, okay? Nobody likes big, hairy balls, okay? Shave those grapefruits. Manscaped.com, promo code Ringside20. Keep them fresh, too. You got the ball deodorant. Everything fresh, smelling good. You want your balls smelling good. You don't want your balls in somebody's face smelling bad. And hold your horses, I'm not talking about anything sexual. I'm talking about the north-south position in jiu-jitsu. Get your balls in somebody's face. You want them to smell good. You don't want to insult somebody when you're in north-south. Or you get that nice... you're going for a kimura and you're in top mount and you lock your legs around somebody's head with an arm in there, going for the kimura, Luke Rockhold on Michael Bisping style. You want those balls to smell good. You need Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com, use that promo code Ringside20. If you're pulling a kimura on somebody, you need Manscaped.
See,
believe me. Promo code Ringside20, 20% off your order plus free shipping. Freddie.
now you did a great promo for Manscaped, okay? I'm not taking anything away for that. But this week, jiu-jitsu is becoming legal again in Quebec, sports combat. And you just did like a promo where people might go like, I'm not sure I want to do jiu-jitsu no more now. You're telling people like somebody doesn't know the sport, you're like, what, you mean I'm going to be stuck under sweaty balls? That guy might not have used Manscaped and you want me to do jiu-jitsu with him? I mean, everybody go buy Manscaped now.
I got to be realistic about what jiu-jitsu is, Fred. I mean, sometimes you get fucking balls and ass in your face. It happens, bro. It's grappling. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing sexual
That's
about
where you
it.
bump.
That's it. You bump. You hip bump. You fucking get out of there. You don't want to be under there, right? It's like you only have so many explosions, You get tired, but fuck it. You get somebody's ass in your face, you're going to fucking explode. Believe me. You're going to, buck up and get moving. Is jiu-jitsu legal again in Quebec, though? Because as far as I have heard, combat sports have been legalized. You can spar and stuff like that. It's in a group of 4 only, so you can't have like a whole... Like, you couldn't have 20 people all rotating in a sparring class, but you could have, like, some people over here, 4 over there, 4 over there, and they could kind of rotate, right? So you get different looks. It's pretty good. But as far as I've heard from the Quebec government, your combat sport and the new rules for it have to be regulated by the governing body of that combat sport. So like Judo Canada or Karate Canada or whatever, and Wrestling Canada, Boxing Canada, a lot of those combat sports are also Olympic sports. So they have the benefit of having this governing body over them, right? So you look at the combat sports that are practiced and are also Olympics. There's karate, there's taekwondo, there's judo, there's wrestling, there's boxing. Anything else? I think that's about it, right? So fencing, if you want to call that a combat sport, I guess, although not really. But they're basically wearing a hazmat suit anyways when they do that shit, so forget about it. But, the real combat sports where people actually grab each other, jiu-jitsu is not an Olympic sport. So we don't have like a governing body, which is one of the reasons why jiu-jitsu wasn't really happening in the province of Quebec. The competitions were outlawed here for a while, and they still are. I mean, competitions are still illegal. You can't even have a boxing competition or judo or whatever. Even though you can go back to practicing, the competitions are not allowed. But jiu-jitsu competitions before the pandemic were barred here in Quebec, right? So my question to you, Fred, I don't really know. I haven't really heard. But is jiu-jitsu allowed now? Because we don't have a governing body for that sport. It's not an Olympic sport, so there's no like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Canada Federation to kind of oversee the new rules for the sport. So are jiu-jitsu gyms allowed to open back up? And as far as, can you roll? Can you do sparring?
Well, I can't give you a exact answer that's correct. Like, what I'll tell you is I know several people that have gyms, and from what I understand, they're all following the guidelines of judo. So basically, if you're following the guidelines of judo, you should be okay where nobody's going to do a complaint, and then, somebody comes in and checks if everything's legit. So technically what you're saying is probably right. Like, jiu-jitsu doesn't have a federation, so technically it's probably not legal to do in Quebec. The way they're going to get caught is if they don't respect the rules. Like, you say, it's four per bubble. Each bubble has to have 2 meter distance. So let's say you have a gym that's whatever size, you got to make sure that you don't have people going into each other's bubble. Don't give a reason for the government to come shut you down right now. That's what I would say. Unfortunately, that's where we are. Don't give a reason for government and people to complain that you're not doing something right. So it's gonna have to be like follow the guidelines. People got to reserve their spots and things like that. It's unfortunately, hopefully, it's gonna change soon. I want to see big classes again.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, right? Like, say you even do that. Say you have a class of, 20 people, and you separate it into 5 4-person groups. You start rolling. You're going to tell me you're not going to spill into somebody else's bubble on the mat? Like, come on. I mean, have you been to a jiu-jitsu class
Like
ever?
like I'm at gym. Sometimes for like big seminars, we would be like 50 people in our gym. There's no way. Like right now, when I look at it, it's probably 3 groups of 4 max that are gonna fit if you're gonna respect like the bubble space. So 3 4 groups of 4. It's gonna be hard on owners because they're gonna have to give a lot more classes to give to the demand of all the clients they have. Plus, between classes, they got to clean. There's a lot of protocols to follow. It's going to be a lot of work for the gym owner. So hopefully everything gets back. Like, I know I can't wait to go back to train with my buddies and all that. So hopefully everything works well and we could get some of these restrictions off like soon. But yeah, it's a little bit of a headache for a lot of people.
What's the story with your gym? I know it kind of shut down during the pandemic, but is it opening back up?
We
What's
should
going on?
reopen. We should reopen soon. They're looking at a couple of places to reopen. It should be reopened soon.
Good. Good stuff. Well, hopefully combat sports do resume here in full effect. Hopefully the world resumes in full effect here, but, it's slowly but surely it's happening. I did jiu-jitsu today in my living room like normal, pandemic jiu-jitsu, Fight Club style. It was great. Had a great session. Balls in the face, Manscaped, it's fine. It's all good, okay? Freddie, let's talk about the fights that happened last Saturday. Alexander Rakic with a nice win over Anthony Smith. Why was that main event 3 rounds? Like, was it supposed to be somebody else and something happened? It's like a main event, but it was only a
I think
3-round
so.
fight. I don't really know.
I think it might have been another fight that was scheduled to be the main event. If
Yeah.
anything, I'll tell you what, that fight, like, I won't lie. A lot of these fighters, man, they need to beat somebody I know for me to remember them. And
Mhm.
Rakic last week, he was very impressive. Like that win against Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith's a legit fighter. That's the win that makes me say, okay, Rakic, he's a player in that division. And
Mhm.
now I want to see all it. I can't wait to see his next couple of fights. Those leg kicks, they were incredible. He dominated, like completely outstruck Smith. Even like once it got to the ground, he also like was dominating everywhere. Rakic was very impressive, and he deserves a big fight, a top 5 guy for sure.
Yeah, he was really impressive, put his name on the map. Um, I don't think he necessarily gets a title shot next, but he's in the conversation. The light heavyweight title will be decided between Jan Blachowicz and Dominic Reyes at, I think, that's the end of the month, right? That's at UFC 253. That's the next pay-per-view in the co-main
Put
event.
him against your boy Ankalaev, who doesn't seem to be able to fight.
Yeah, that was weird, right? So Magomed Ankalaev was supposed to fight Jan Kutalaba. Their fight got canceled like a month ago because Kutalaba had coronavirus, and then the fight got canceled again. Somebody had coronavirus, but I'm not sure who. Was it Kutalaba? I think
I
it
think
was.
so. That's what I read. Yeah.
Why did they
For a
reschedule?
second time, he's the one.
Yeah, what the hell? Like, how does that make sense? You know, like,
Well, there's a lot of false positives, so maybe one of those two was a. Because, like, let's say you get a positive, do they really like retest you to see if it was a false positive and all that? Like, it's unfortunate for Ankalaev
mm,
and Kutalaba.
yeah. I wanted to see my
Not sure
man.
what to say.
I wanted to see my man Ankalaev fight here, but it didn't happen. I just find it strange that Kutalaba tests positive for COVID. The fight gets canceled. They reschedule a month later, and he again tests positive for COVID. It's like, okay, well, why reschedule? Like, why not just wait until you have a negative test and then you reschedule? Unless he got a negative test and then came back and tested positive again, which like that's also scary. So I don't know. It's fucking weird. But as far as title fights go, the UFC light heavyweight title decided on September 26th when Dominic Reyes and Jan Blachowicz fight for the vacant title. I think the number one contender fight was going to be Glover Teixeira and Thiago Santos. That fight was supposed to take place next Saturday in the main event, but that fight is not happening on September 12th. Thiago Santos... Glover Teixeira has tested positive for COVID. So Glover Teixeira's fight on September 12th against Thiago Santos in the main event of that card, supposed to be the main event, that has been pushed to the October 3rd UFC Fight Night card, which, again, you test positive for COVID, and then you just reschedule the fight for 3 weeks later. I don't know if that fight's actually going to happen. By the way, October 3rd, UFC Fight Night, Dave's birthday. So don't forget about your boy, me. It's my birthday. Okay? You know, our birthdays are all coming up. I put them on the calendar, Freddie, and I put it out on Instagram. You can follow me at Dave Simon MMA. And I realized that AJ's birthday, your birthday, and my birthday are all within, like, 10 days of each other. Like, AJ is on the 22nd
When is AJ?
22nd of September. You're on the 30th, and I'm on the 3rd of October. So, like, your birthday is a couple days before
That's
mine,
11.
and you're, 11. Sorry, Fred, okay? 11 days, but that's pretty good. Like, it's weird that the whole show, all of our birthdays are condensed in an 11-day period. We should just have one giant party, the Ringside Report birthday party. That's what we should do, Fred. Although, I guess we're not allowed to have giant parties because of fucking pandemic. God damn it! It's my fucking birthday, though. Come on. It's Freddie's birthday, AJ's birthday. AJ's going to be 69 years old, okay? It's a big one for him, okay? And Fred will be 38 again, somehow. How'd you do it? How did you do it? So, so the Glover-Teixeira fight, I think, Glover, Thiago Santos, winner of that fight, might be next in line for Blachowicz and... what's his face? Dominic Reyes. Do you see the card for UFC 254, the Khabib one, in October? October 24th? Ridiculous. Khabib versus Gaethje main event. Co-main event, Tony Ferguson, Dustin Poirier. Then they've got Robert Whittaker versus Jared Cannonier. Zabit Magomed Sharipov versus Yair Rodriguez. Rafael Dos Anjos versus Islam Makhachev. Like, god damn, that's a good pay-per-view. God damn, pal. We're going to do a watch-along for that shit. We'll also do a watch-along for UFC 253. The next UFC pay-per-view, Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. Go to vpn.ringsidereport.net. Sign up right now. You need IP Vanish. It's a great VPN. It will keep you safe on the internet. And you'll be able to watch things from anywhere in the world. Do you want to watch things that are geo-blocked to you? Use IP Vanish,
Sure.
right? It's very easy. Like, you ever see that? This video not available in your country. IP Vanish, that doesn't happen anymore. You can watch whatever you want. Go to vpn.ringsidereport.net and sign up right now and support the Ringside Report Network. I think I forgot to give a shout-out to my man, Patrick C. Hamilton, who super-chatted us. Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate you big time. Appreciate everybody super-chatting us, supporting the Ringside Report Network on the super chat. We thank you. We also thank you for supporting our sponsors. I saw Mad Dog Vachon bought Manscaped. Use the promo code, and he says it's a very good product. So thank you, Mad Dog. We appreciate you. I am glad that you enjoyed the Manscaped and that you use the promo code Ringside20. Helps the channel. Helps the Ringside Report Network. So we appreciate it big time. Did a big watch-along this past Sunday for Payback. A lot of people were there with us. We had a good time. I'm seeing on the chat right now our next UFC watch party will be UFC 253 on September 26th. But don't forget, our next watch-along will be this Saturday night for AEW All Out, 8 p.m. Eastern Time right here. Fred, this card is sick. Like I'm telling you, you're going to like it. Your boy MJF is fighting for the title. You love MJF.
I hope he wins it. He's funny.
He's wrestling John Moxley in the main event. MJF versus Moxley for the world title. Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy in a Mimosa Mayhem match, where the match can be won by pinfall submission or throwing the opponent into a tank of mimosa. Kenny Omega and Hangman Page defending against the FTR, defending the tag team titles. Hikaru Shida, the AEW Women's Champion, defending against the NWA Women's Champion Thunder Rosa. A 21-man casino battle royal for a future AEW World Title shot that will include Darby Allin, Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Ricky Starks, Pentagon Jr., Rey Fenix, The Butcher, The Blade, Eddie Kingston, Shawn Spears, Billy, and Austin Gunn, Jake Hager, Santana, Ortiz, Chuck Taylor, Trent. The Dark Order, Brody Lee, Colt Cabana, Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson taking on Matt Cardona, Scorpio Sky, and Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall. Jurassic Express taking on the Young Bucks. Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara in a Broken Rules match. If Matt Hardy loses, he must leave AEW. And Britt Baker versus Big Swole in a tooth and nail match. I don't really know what a tooth and nail match is, but I'm looking forward to All Out this coming Saturday night. AEW Watch Along, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, coming up right here on the Ringside Report Network. Where's AJ? Is he with the hookers again, with the strippers in Trois-Rivières? What's going on?
Probably.
You know what? We're actually not gonna have a show in a couple of weeks. There's gonna be one Thursday in September where we'll be off because I'm taking a mini vacation. Okay? Just telling you now. I'm warning you, Fred. I'm warning you.
Where are you going?
Tremblant, I think. You know, a little break ski, a little nature, you know? Get a cabin in the woods. Sit there. Get high. Have fun. So, Stitcher. Go to Stitcher.com. Use that promo code Ringside to sign up today for a free month. Stitcher.com/premium. Use the promo code Ringside. It's just $4.99 a month or $34.99 a year, but when you sign up today using the promo code Ringside, you get a free month. They've got over 100,000 podcasts, including our own podcast, Wrestling Uncensored and Ringside Report MMA. You can listen to them on your iPhone, Android, tablet, PC, Amazon Echo, or in your car on demand, ad-free. They've got Stitcher Originals, bonus episodes, comedy albums, and more. Stitcher.com/premium. Use that promo code Ringside for a free month right now. I don't think they have Joe Rogan anymore. What's the deal with Joe Rogan? Is he off his deal? He's on
Spotify now.
He's on Spotify now. Is it like exclusively on Spotify? What's the story? I don't understand what he did. So I can't listen to Joe Rogan.
If you're gonna spend $200 million on somebody, I think you're gonna expect to get exclusive rights.
Yeah, I suppose. I like now when I look up Joe Rogan on the podcast app. You know how it shows you like if you like Joe Rogan, you might also want to listen to this. You know, it's like if you want to listen to Chris Jericho's podcast, you might want to listen to Jim Ross's podcast too, right? When I look up Joe Rogan on the Apple Podcast app, it's like, do you want to listen to Ben Shapiro? Do you want to? It's like a lot of these like right wing guys. Joe Rogan has now been like lumped in with the far right movement, which is interesting. That he's there now because he wasn't always there. But now, if you look up Joe Rogan, like I could do it right now, and I will tell you the other podcasts that show up. It's funny. I was like, really?
It's
like a lot of Joe Rogan.
The other way. I tell you, he used to be there, and now he just went to the left.
Really? It's like Jordan Peterson, Meat Eater, Aubrey Marcus, whoever that is, Ben Shapiro,
But that's why
Neil.
some people are mad because on Spotify they censored a bunch of the good episodes, the ones with Alex Jones and all that. Spotify
Right.
didn't put them.
Right.
Spotify, why you gotta be a
Well,
you
take
know
it
what?
easy. Take it easy. We're on Spotify, so be cool. But yeah, they uploaded like the Joe Rogan archive to Spotify, but they didn't include like a lot of the right-wing guests that he's had, or I guess more fringe people like Alex Jones. And
I'd say the best guess, but the
I
best
think
shows. It doesn't mean it doesn't look. It doesn't. I don't endorse what the guest says, but don't tell me that Alex Jones episode is not like entertaining. That's like the most
fantastic.
entertaining episode.
Oh yeah, so good, so good. I mean, the guy is super entertaining. I think he's a bit of a crackpot, but my God, is he funny. Like, just the stuff he says. My favorite Alex Jones thing is when he started talking about post-term abortions. I'm like, you mean like when they're born? Like, what are you talking about? Post-term abortions, they're doing them. They're harvesting your whatever. Joe Rogan, you know this. You've seen the documents. Joe Rogan's like, yeah, sure. It's like, what? I love Alex Jones. Like, whenever he goes off, whoever's with him, he's like, you know this just as well as I do. And the person's like, okay, I guess I do. I don't know. He's fantastic, man. What a fucking guy. I'm sad that, like I get that he says probably some bad shit and he's not a good guy and whatever, but it makes me sad that people try to limit his speech. Like, he was banned from YouTube or Twitter and all those things. Like, at one point they just kind of removed Alex Jones from, the conversation. He's still out there, but it's like harder to find. I think it's too bad. Like, I disagree with everything he says, but I feel like he should be allowed to say the crazy shit that he says. Like, he's a crazy conspiracy guy. They've always been around. I don't understand why he's like so dangerous, but, he's kind of a dick, so whatever. I'm not going to fight for Alex Jones. I don't really care. All right?
I like Alex.
Woods MMA UK says we need to get him on our show. I don't think we could I think we'd get our channel removed from YouTube if Alex Jones was on our show, right? I don't think he's allowed to be on the show.
Probably.
Well, that's what happened.
We don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Freddie, that's it. We're wrapping up. Any final words you want to taunt AJ a little bit? He's not here. I'm sure he's watching and angry that we're not talking about him enough.
Congrats, AJ. You got 2 good predictions for once.
Yeah, you finally picked some winners. Let's pick our winners for Saturday. I've got Overeem and OSP.
Same thing.
There you go. OSP is the underdog, plus
AJ
110.
AJ got Sakai and that Alonzo dude.
100%. Watch them win, too, and then he'll come back and be like, I told you guys, I was right. I told you, what?
Fred told you, I told you.
Yeah, Fred, see? Fred knows. You got to give it to him. All right, guys, we gave it to you big time. I'll be back here with Johnny North Saturday morning for the AEW All Out preview show and some WWE, whatever's happening there, Randy Orton and so on. And then AEW All Out Watch Along this Saturday night at 8 p.m. Thank you for super chatting. Thank you for supporting the Ringside Report Network sponsors, Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. Use that promo code Ringside20 for 20% off your order plus free shipping. Go to IPVanish. Go to vpn.ringsidereport.net to sign up right now. And go to stitcher.com/premium and use the promo code Ringside for a free month of Stitcher Premium. That's it for me. That's it for Fred. AJ will be back next week. This has been Ringside Report.